What's up guys, it's TyranitarTube and welcome back to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Riddles. The leak season we knew before this is dead. We're gonna find so much information in this video, and if I do another video after this, that there's gonna be barely anything left in the game. Anything they throw in trailers you're gonna expect. I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse, but unfortunately when it comes to leaks, you're either looking at them or you're not. You can't just look at Riddler Coup. So anyhow, since the last time I went through this, Riddler Coup has tweeted some things, and of course Kakaman came out from the depths of what. How is he not caught yet? I don't want this man to go to jail. I want this man to be just put in a room somewhere, time out. He don't even got an actual name. He's just like a villain, peeing everything about the game out. It's like Masada made him work overtime one day and he's taking his anger out. So first we're gonna go through Riddler Coup's riddles, have a bit of fun, and then go to Kakaman. Riddler Coup is the filler arc, right? This has become the show where the filler is what you look forward to. The story is so ass, the beach episodes are fun now. Riddler Coup is the beach episode. If you were ever doubting whether Kakaman was real or not, Riddler Coup has mentioned that guy showed you a picture of the grass and water starter. That guy mentioned cross-gen Evo stuff, which is when he talked about the Murkrow potential evolution and the Dunsparce potential evolution. It's all over the place now. That's kind of around where we left off. So let's continue with the new stuff Coup has tweeted. Oh yeah, so Coup also tweeted that since Kakaman is posting stuff, that Coup is gonna help, and he gave gens 1, 2, 2, 2, 5. These are supposed to be about cross-gens, right? Would you consider Lanoon evolving into Obstagoon a cross-gen? I feel like it isn't. I feel like cross-gen is like Stantler evolving into Wordeer, a Gen 2 Pokemon evolving in Gen 8, Magmar, a Gen 1 Pokemon evolving in Gen 4. It's not really a cross-gen evolution if the Pokemon just has a different form that evolves. So when I was trying to figure out what the 1, 2, 2, 2, 5 was, most of them were just regional evolution stuff. Like Giraffrix should be one of them. One of them should be Murkrow, but Murkrow would be a variant, I'm sure. Wooper would be a variant too. Tauros, and then a mysterious Gen 5 one. I hope these don't include RFs. Ever since Legends introduced actual evolutions again, I've been really interested in that. And I think 5 Pokemon that are actual cross-gen evolutions, Giraffrix just being one of them, would be sick. But if not, then we probably know most of them. Cou's been mostly quiet since Kakaman's appearance. I take it as the room just smells so much Cou's not gonna sit in it with them. But Coup eventually comes back and tweets one more riddle. We decided to piggyback off of his legacy. He mentioned the hammer, right? Kakaman mentioned a Pokemon with the hammer. Coup pretty much tells us here in this tweet that that was the waifu Pokemon he was gonna tease a while back. All the way back on May 15th, Coup posted this poll. Guys, exciting poll time. You can choose one thing and I will talk about it. This was 2 months ago. We could have had more info about starters, Gen 9 Objectmon, which Coup ends up telling us anyway. We think it's a Coinmon. A riveting new RF that he actually never ends up talking about. And then Gen 9 Waifumon. He says if we voted this back in May, that he would have told us it's a Pokemon with the hammer. Say welcome to your lolly waifu. Also the Acemon for one of the Elite Four. Listen, that's a sick design for Pokemon. This tiny girl swinging a hammer around is a trope I've seen rarely done. I think it'll work well as a Pokemon. You never know, maybe it's like the Lucario of this game. That's pretty much all Riddler Coup got to tweet. Kakaman's overwhelming stench is taking over the internet. So now we move to Kakaman. Within minutes, beach episode's over. Right now we're entering the Kakaman tunnel, right? But there is potentially a little bit of light at the end of this tunnel, or throughout the tunnel. You know, every time Kakaman posts one of these leaks about the game, Riddler Coup has been watching it, and he slowly watches as some of Kakaman's information starts looking inaccurate. And what Coup eventually ends up tweeting is this tweet right here. Goddamn hilarious that Titan Gimmick messages were passed in the form of Google translated broken Japanese between both sides, which makes it all poo. What a waste for Gen 9 battle preview. I'm awake. What Coup is saying here is that Kakaman, when you look at Kakaman's tweets, he's tweeting Japanese with some partial English. But apparently, Kakaman is using Google Translate to achieve that Japanese. And then half the people reading his tweets just click the translate button below the tweet and use that raw translation. It's almost like Kakaman is not actually Japanese. He's faking it. Who says it's broken Japanese from both sides? Kakaman probably doesn't speak Japanese and is trying to give the illusion that he does. And then you look on his Twitter. Remember what I said about Coup? Don't trust his whole page? This is just a copy of his Twitter. He would say stuff like, sorry for bad English. Who gonna apologize for their bad English? Someone who is English and wants you to suspect they're not. So what's hopeful here is that some of the information Kakaman tweets can be inaccurate. If Kakaman is trying to hide his identity, you're gonna get caught soon. Kakaman said, Game Freak, go look in Japan. I'm Japanese. They're coming to Texas right now, Kakaman. Kakaman's tweets can be inaccurate, and that's the light in the tunnel, because any leak I read here, you can still question if it's real or not, instead of it just registering into your brain like, okay. Because when shit registers into your brain and you see it in a trailer, you're just gonna say, okay, the leak was real, wow. You're not gonna get people going crazy. At least this way, you can always question everything. Man, this video is gonna have some really cool things in it. So first off, the 4 semi-legendaries in this game. We talked about this last time. Initially, people translated it as pseudo-legendaries, but it seems to actually be something like Zapdos tier legendaries. They call them semi-legends because they don't have the base stats of like Kyogre and Groudon. They're in their like 580s. But in the inaccuracies of people reading his tweets, one of the ideas coming out is that it might be a quattro legendary trio, kind of like the forces of nature. Oh my god, I know what it is. It's the arms. It's the Exodia limbs. So aside from Kaka tweeting about the Pokemon with the hammer, he said it took him 60 hours to finish the game. He said he's bad at it. How are you bad at Pokemon? He says all of the new clothes in the game are school outfits. So pretty much what they're wearing, just like in different colors or longer pants. When asked about past and future forms, he said maybe, which would be crazy if past and future forms ever happen. And then he says you can ride only Kraken and Miraidon, that there is no bike in the game, and that you can catch Pokemon while riding them. But then meanwhile, he says we have to battle Pokemon to catch them. So bro, make up your mind. Unless when you're riding Kraken Miraidon, the battle screen looks different, this makes no sense. He says you can rematch the gym leaders, that there is no order for the gym leaders, but that their levels apparently don't scale depending on the order you do them in. So it's not like the closest gym leader has a team for if you have no badges versus 8 badges. Apparently, they're all the same, and I don't really get that. Surely after you take out your first gym, the rest will be easy then. Or when you have to go fight gym leaders, is it like a battle frontier situation where everyone's levels equal out? He says you have to clear 3 routes to see the ending. This tweet right here takes me back to Riddler Koo tweeting about Detroit Become Human again. Obviously, one answer to this riddle is that maybe Riddler Koo is teasing the existence of choices in this game. So maybe there are many things you can do in this game, but if you clear 3 of the main storylines, you start reaching towards the ending. Things just start triggering. Man, then we get into the gimmick of this game. There have been many theories for the gimmick of this game. Back then, Riddler Koo posted a riddle where he had the letter for 3, and then he made us create the kanji for type. It made us think there was a 3-typed gimmick, and people who looked at the kanji for type said this is the type that's used in games to mean type. But apparently this type might literally just mean the amount of gimmicks. 3 types of gimmicks. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Apparently there is some information on the gimmick. There's weird things people are talking about, crystallizing Pokemon and stuff. The information is so all over the place. Who knows what's right and wrong? I'm just gonna tell you what seems to be right. All final starter evolutions can use the gimmick. Why would Kakaman tweet this? And then later tweet the gimmick is for all Pokemon. Stop wasting our time. So apparently the way the gimmick works in this game is you get some sort of item from Nemona. Some people translate it as a ball. I guess this ball is similar to Dynamax, where the Pokemon has to go back into it and then transform. But here's what's cool about this right here. Do you remember when Koo tweeted the Steins Gate riddle? Oh, we come back to this again. On June 20th, Koo tweeted this picture of Steins Gate, of some text talking about Spirited Away, and then the character holding up this ball, this toy in the show. There's a chance he was teasing the gimmick here. Oh man, when Kakaman first started tweeting what the gimmick in this game was, it was all broken English. Broken Japanese. Initially, people were reporting it as a 3-typed gimmick, but later, after going back and forth a bit, it seems we have a proper way the gimmick works. So it's not that your Pokemon's type changes. It would be something like pushing the Z move like button in battle, but instead of your Pokemon gaining a 3rd type, it instead gains strength in a certain typing. So for example, if you push the gimmick on a Rapidash, and let's say the typing is electric, it wouldn't become a fire electric type, but electric moves it uses will do more damage. Something like stab. So it's like Rapidash should be able to use that typing purely offensively. It wouldn't take damage based off that. This raises a few questions. Is the gimmick gonna be that you have 18 of like a certain shard to collect around the game, 1 for each typing, that you can give to your Pokemon to pick what type the gimmick triggers as? Or is it like every Pokemon using the gimmick only benefits in a specific typing. I would think it's the former, and that you could customize the typing that you are gonna mess around with. The next thing is the weird one. The Pokemon changes its appearance while using the gimmick. Now this is kind of crazy. What this sounds like is essentially Dynamax, where you have every Pokemon capable of using the gimmick, but certain Pokemon will be able to transform when they use it. Kind of like a Gigantamax. And here's the example I'm gonna use. You see this picture of a flower Pokemon? This Pokemon looks like Leap. So let's say that you can give the general Pokemon the gimmick and they'll just gain an affinity for a certain typing. But if you give select Pokemon like the Leap the gimmick, then when it triggers, it also triggers a form change in them. In this image of whatever this Pokemon is, it's got this symbol above its head. Originally, I was looking at that symbol as a part of its model, but what if it's like the DNA symbol that appears after you Mega Evolve? What if after a Pokemon transforms, the symbol of the typing that it's gained an affinity for shows above their head? So this is a Lilip that is transformed to gain stronger poison types, and so it displays the poison symbol above there. I think that's what's going on. The only question there is, let's pretend that is a Lilip and Lilip is a candidate. Will Lilip change form regardless of which typing, or does it only work for a specific one? I think this gimmick sounds pretty cool. This is pretty much like Mega Evolution and Dynamax put together. So it's Mega Evolution because certain Pokemon will change forms, but it's Dynamax in the sense that any Pokemon can use the gimmick. It's almost like if any Pokemon could Mega Evolve, but they wouldn't actually gain a form change. They would just gain like a 50 BST boost. This is like the in-between where any Pokemon can have the gimmick, but certain Pokemon have that Mega Evolution like change. So that's pretty good, Game Freak. I think Game Freak quickly realized the problem with Mega Evolutions in that only certain Pokemon can use it. If you've ever Wi-Fi battled, Z Crystals are pretty fun to use. And Dynamaxing too. It does help to make a gimmick for all Pokemon. Anyhow, he says the gimmick lasts until the Pokemon goes back in its Pokeball, which really is a Mega Evolution Dynamax mix. It's not 3 turns, but it's not forever. It's not a bad idea for a gimmick at all. I think this is much more organized than if Pokemon gained a 3rd typing. But I can make a T-Tar's Surfs do a lot of damage. If done right, people will have so many different combinations when Wi-Fi battling. You might actually not see the same teams again and again. So anyhow, that's the gimmick. The last thing to talk about, yeah, look, we're just flying through the information. The last thing is something that's still in the midst of broken English, but it's something like this, and it's kind of crazy. Let me put up the picture of this Jigglypuff. Oh goodness. It's all broken English, so I ain't even gonna put visuals on screen. Let me talk about this Jigglypuff for a bit. Word going around is that this Jigglypuff is an ancient Jigglypuff. Like past and future forms, but they're calling it some kind of ancient Jigglypuff. It's got the fangs that you would have in more older times. Some people have fan art drawing it with a cape, like it's some kind of Dracula. What kind of blood-sucking Jigglypuff is this? While it's just speculation for now, this kind of opens up a cool talk on ancient and future forms. The other idea going around is concerning this picture of Among Us. There's this weird idea going around that this isn't Among Us. That this is a Pokemon that looks like Among Us, but is not registered in the Dex as Among Us, and is not Among Us. And this is when we get to some cool territory, because Ku's always been talking about RFs, regional fakes. What if this is a Pokemon that takes like the place of future forms? These Pokemon from the future that were created in the image of Pokemon that exists now. Either that, or what if there are Pokemon that exist in nature that have mimicked and evolved to look like other Pokemon? Some people look at this picture and say it's just a pig that's hiding under something, and it ends up looking like Among Us, except it's nothing like it. Maybe for some evolutionary purpose, or maybe as a complete coincidence. It would be kind of like the opposite of regional variants, and it would make sense if that's what our fakes were. Game Freak introducing Pokemon that exist in nature or artificially created that aren't the Pokemon at all. So if there's an R fake of Tauros, it's not a Tauros, it's even called something else. I think that'd be pretty cool. I kind of like the idea that it naturally exists than it was scientifically made. That's really all the information I got. Even now as I'm recording this video, Ku made another tweet quoting some of the information going around about this gimmick, how every Pokemon can use it, you don't gain a type, and something about some crystal-like effect that Pokemon get. So this is the kakaman info going around, and Ku puts a photo of this information and says that's what the telephone game would be, LMAO. As in, as information keeps getting passed on, that it gets more and more wrong. It seems like he's making a jab at it being inaccurate. It's nice to know that some of the information we talked about in this video could be inaccurate because of how Kakaman is doing things. Because I don't really want to know these things for certain. How did I know Ku tweeted? Oh, I'll know. Anyhow, about RFs, Riddler Ku did post a Sudowoodo and ask what type we thought it was, and a Teddy Ursa asking what type we thought it was. So if these got RFs, imagine the direction. He put puppy for Sudowoodo. What if it's this Pokemon that in the wild will actually look like a Sudowoodo, but when it moves, it's just this puppy on all fours? And then for Teddy Ursa, something about honey. Maybe because it's always trying to get honey out of Beedrill and Vespiquen's nests. There's some kind of Pokemon that's either naturally come to be in nature or is artificially made that looks like a Teddy Ursa, but when you go close, it isn't. It's not at all. I think this idea of regional Fs would be really cool. In other news, there is this weird gameplay leak, in quotes, of what might be Sprigatito's final evolution. I'll play it on screen right now. What you can see is this bipedal cat Pokemon that's kind of spinning around, dancing around, and it uses this move where it's like dress petals go crazy to the wind. If you look at the beginning, you can see an interesting design that makes sense why Ku would describe it as a waifu Pokemon. Anyhow, a lot of people are talking about how smooth that animation is. If someone made this up, they put way too much work into it. This Pokemon has a whole idle animation and move animation, but guess what? It's fake. Bro, tell us if that leaked Sprigatito Evo is fake, please. That animation was fake. Thank you, Beach Episode Ku. Good job, whoever made it. You couldn't have picked the worst time, though. I do want to end this video by bringing you guys back to Ku's tweet here about the telephone game. At first, Kakaman got our attention with these screenshots, but then he started using more and more broken English and Japanese. He could be mixing lies in. At this point, you're most safest taking the ideas I talked about, whatever is up with the supposed ancient Jigglypuff, some imposter Among Us. Wow. And whatever the gimmick I described is. Take it as just generally what might be the case. Because Kakaman is going down the Kaka chute more and more as we speak. Anyhow, shank that like button. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bitch, I'm the man. Give me my